Ripa leaned back in her chair, laughing the kind of laugh that only comes from a memory you've told 100 times, but still can't quite believe happened the way it did. It would have been a disaster, she said, wiping a tear from the corner of her eye. An absolute, viral, internet-breaking disaster. Across from her, Mark Consuelos shook his head, smiling in that quiet, knowing way of his. Not a disaster, he corrected gently. Just very public. And that, Kelly shot back, pointing at him, is exactly why I'm so glad it was. The two of them sat side by side, reflecting on a moment that, in today's world, would likely involve drone footage, multiple camera angles, a coordinated hashtag, and at least one slow-motion replay. But back then, it was just them. Messy, spontaneous, imperfect, and entirely private. Their proposal story has long been a fan favorite, but what makes it even more compelling now is how out of step it feels with modern expectations. There was no audience, Mark said. No phones, no pressure to perform, it was just a moment. Kelly nodded, and honestly, that's what saved it. She paused, then grinned mischievously. Because if anyone had filmed it, I would have denied everything. Mark laughed. You basically did deny everything. Exactly, she exclaimed. Now imagine that denial, but with millions of people watching, replaying, analyzing my facial expressions, zooming in like, did she hesitate? Was that a no? Is this a breakup disguised as a proposal? She shuddered dramatically. I would never recover. The truth, as they both admit, is that their proposal wasn't some perfectly choreographed fairy tale. It was real, emotional, a little chaotic, and at one point very nearly derailed. We had an argument, Mark admitted. A pretty big one. Kelly raised an eyebrow. Pretty big, that's a generous way to put it. Okay, he conceded. It was a fight. And not a cute one, she added. Not the kind where you're like, oh, we're just passionate. No, it was full on. Maybe we shouldn't even be together territory. Mark nodded, and that's when I proposed. Kelly burst out laughing again. See, imagine that clip online. Man proposes mid-argument, romantic or red flag. There, bethink pieces. Relationship experts weighing in. Strangers telling me to run. And instead, Mark asked. And instead, Kelly said, her voice softening, it was just a moment between two people trying to figure things out. She looked at him, her expression shifting from playful to sincere. There was no noise, no outside opinions, no pressure to respond a certain way because people were watching. Mark leaned forward slightly. That's the part people don't always understand about proposals now. It's not just about asking the question, it's about performing the question. Exactly, Kelly agreed. There's this expectation that it has to be a production, a spectacle, and if it's not, it somehow feels less than. She shook her head. But our moment, it was ours completely. Mark smiled, and it changed everything. Kelly tilted her head, considering that. Eventually, she teased. He laughed. Eventually. What they both keep coming back to is the freedom they had in that moment, the freedom to be imperfect. I didn't have to worry about how I looked, Kelly said. I didn't have to think, oh, is my hair okay? Is this angle flattering? Am I reacting the right way? She gestured broadly. I was just me, confused, emotional, maybe a little dramatic, but real. Mark nodded, and I didn't have to plan some elaborate setup. No hidden cameras, no coordinating with photographers, no worrying about whether it would play well online. He paused, then added with a grin, which is good because I definitely would have messed that up. Kelly laughed. Oh, completely. You would have been like, wait, where's the lighting guy? Why is the drone not here yet? Exactly, Mark said. Too many moving parts, I like simple. And thank God for that, Kelly replied. They both fell quiet for a moment, the humor giving way to something more reflective. You know, Kelly said softly, there's something really special about having a memory that only exists in your mind. Mark looked at her. Yeah. It's not documented from 10 different angles, she continued. It's not something you can replay on demand. It lives in the way you remember it, the way it felt. She placed a hand over her chest. And that feeling, it doesn't get diluted by other people's reactions. Mark nodded slowly. It stays yours. In a world where so many milestones are shared instantly, sometimes before they've even fully sunk in, Kelly and Mark's story feels almost radical in its simplicity. We got to process it together, Mark said. Just the two of us. No commentary, no expectations, just us figuring out what it meant. Kelly smiled, and figuring out how to move forward. She glanced at him, her eyes warm. Which, by the way, we did. Eventually, he echoed again, earning another laugh. They both agree that while social media has its positives, it connects people, allows for celebration, creates community. It also changes the nature of intimate moments. There's this instinct now to share everything immediately, Kelly said. And sometimes that's great, but other times it can take you out of the moment. Mark added, it can make you think about how something looks instead of how it feels. And a proposal, Kelly said firmly, should be about how it feels. She leaned back again, a contented smile settling on her face. Ours wasn't perfect, it wasn't polished, but it was real. Mark reached over, taking her hand, and it worked. She squeezed his hand, her smile widening. That's the best part, isn't it? He nodded. Yeah, it is. Kelly looked out, as if addressing an invisible audience. So when we say we're so glad our proposal happened before social media, it's not because we think things were better back then. She glanced at Mark, then back again. It's because we got to have a moment that belonged entirely to us. No filters, no edits, no outside noise. Mark added quietly, just the beginning of something real. Kelly grinned, and a really good story. Eventually, he said one last time. And this time they both laughed.